Welcome to the stage, Béalleka! It's 1996, outside the Egyptian Room. Portland's only... Wow. Portland's only lesbian bar dedicated to lesbians, with a weekly strip night for women by women. It's my first time here, and I'm nervous as hell. So I've brought along my straight but sex-positive friend and former roommate. Gabriel and I met during our first days of college 5 years earlier. During orientation, we went around the circle talking about what we'd done over the summer, and she shared that she had been building houses in the rural South and didn't make fun of the people that she had met there, and that impressed me. That lack of judgment stayed with her throughout our friendship, and it helped to encourage me to follow her when she came to Portland, a city that we both moved to because of its liberal attitudes about the sex work industry, and places like Spartacus that sell costumes to dancers, but anyone can shop there. I like to shop there and covet all the fancy lingerie, but my barista salary doesn't let me afford any of it. So we're at the strip club because I'm curious. I have these ideas about what a strip club might be like, mostly based on movies and music videos, but I want to see for myself. Plus, my women's studies minor taught me that stripping can sometimes help to subvert the patriarchy from within. So we're outside the Egyptian Room, and I'm checking it out. We're getting our courage to go inside. It's my first time in a strip club, but it's not my first time walking into a bar, not knowing if I'll be welcome there. I'm a little nervous. I've gone to college in the Midwest, and I've gone to a lot of Midwestern dive bars, not knowing if my outfit or the way that I talk or the color of my skin will get me kicked out or worse. The Egyptian Room seems a little friendlier than that, though all the women inside kind of look like those Midwestern good old gals with their flannels and their comfortable shoes. And Gabriel, who's from Iowa, fits right in. She is wearing a flannel and baggy boyfriend jeans. And I'm wearing overalls and a flannel because I've prepared for this. But my overalls are Esprit brand and plum colored, and underneath them I'm wearing a vintage brocade silk half shirt with extensive beadwork, and I'm kind of going for that classic Baby Dyke look with a jazz era edge. So we're at the strip club. I'm at the strip club for two reasons, the first of which I've shared with Gabriel. And that is to find out if stripping might actually be a viable profession. In case the barista gig doesn't work out, I might get paid to dance, and then, hey, I could afford all that fancy lingerie. The second reason that I'm there is a little less explicit. I've recently moved to Portland from LA, and I'm still searching for my people. By this point, I've had a lot of sex with men, many of whom were interested in my professed attraction to women. I've made out with a lot of women, but I've never had a girlfriend. And I'm thinking, what better way to determine my sexuality than to watch women strip? Because what could go wrong? My version of, or my expectation of what a strip club is going to be like is really based on this fantasy of what I've seen in the movies. I think it's going to be like this one-sided, one-way mirror kind of situation where they dance and I watch and we don't talk. There's no interaction. So it's like this safe voyeurism. I've probably watched Madonna's video, The Peep Show, Open Your Heart to Love, one too many times. So I have this idea that that's what it's going to be like. Inside, we go up to the bar in the Egyptian Room, and I shyly ask the bartender about the stripping and where it's going to take place. And she points out this back door through which you can feel the music bumping. So I grab Gabriel, and we push our way into the back room. Inside, the first impression is of an empty high school dance. There's no stage. There's a DJ stand that kind of dominates the room. And around the edges of the room are these rickety tables, like cafeteria tables. And it's on these that the dancers have to dance. And there's no pole, like in the movies. There's no spotlight, but there's a lot of smoke because it's the 90s and you could still smoke inside. It's also really empty. There's one dancer and about 4 or 5 at the most other patrons besides us. So nevertheless, we make a beeline to the other side of the room, trying to hide from the action. And I look over, and it's really strange to me. I, first of all, have been worried that I'm gonna be found out. I'm gonna be shunned by the lesbians because they are gonna look at me and they're gonna know that I have sex with men, and I'm gonna be kicked out because of that. I'm still thinking at this point that it's a lesbian bar, so the lesbian strippers must all be lesbians, right? That's logical. But this woman who's dancing, everything about her appears fake. She has fake blonde hair, she has a fake tan, she has fake breasts. She's even wearing a fake fur fuchsia bikini, which is kind of like blowing in the breeze as she's dancing. And she appears to be dancing for a group of cisgendered white men. So I'm really confused. Like, is this even really a lesbian bar, or is this a fake lesbian bar, since there are men in it? So I'm thinking that stripping might not be all that. And when it becomes intermission, I get up, and there's a bar in the back, and I go and get a couple of drinks. And while I'm standing there, trying to elegantly stuff my change back into my overalls, another dancer comes out. And it's intermission, so she's not dancing. She's just kind of sizing up the crowd, like she's trying to determine whether we're worth her time. I'm pretty sure we're not. But she sees me, and she makes a beeline over to me. And this breaks all of my expectations about the one-way mirror, we're not supposed to be talking. What I understood about strip club etiquette is that you don't talk to the strippers, you don't touch the strippers, which is confusing because in all the movies you see them tucking the dollar bills into the G-string. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to do that. But she comes over and she starts talking to me like a regular person. And I'm struck by a couple of things about her appearance. For one thing, she's beautiful. She's also around 40, about my age now, and she's brown. She appears to be biracial, like me. And everyone else in the club, and there are now a couple more people, everyone else appears to be white. She's also dressed in a burlesque outfit, this beautiful gray silk corset and bustier with brocade inset parts to it. I remember exactly what she was wearing. And she has really shapely thighs, and they're encased in fishnets. And she has a feather boa around her neck. And she welcomes me to the Egyptian room, rightfully guessing that it's my first time there. And I'm just unable to talk to her. I can't muster the courage to have an actual conversation. So eventually she just tells me to stick around, that she's gonna go on after the break, and then she winks at me and heads off back to the DJ station, trailing her feather boa behind her. I'm freaking the fuck out. I don't know, like, is the wink, like, is she, like, flirting with me? I guess she's flirting with me. I don't know what this means. So I run back to the table, and I tell Gabriel, drink up. We've got to get out of here. So my plan of figuring things out, not so much. So that fails to happen, because right as we're about to get up, the classic Torch song, Fever, comes on. And the dancer comes out, and she starts to perform. And she is clearly a veteran performer. She is up on the stage, dancing, moving her body in these incredible ways. She's doing back bends and the splits, and she's making everybody feel like they're the only ones in the room. And she's just beautiful to watch. I'm utterly turned on by her performance, and scared that she's gonna come back over to me and want some sort of interaction, and I don't know what that can be. So I'm watching her while trying to look like I'm not watching her, which is ridiculous because she's a performer, professional performer. She knows when she's being watched. And when her back is turned, I grab Gabriel and we sneak out. But before we leave, I look back and I see her looking at us disappointedly. I take Gabriel home, drop her off, and head back to the sublet that I share with 3 white vegan women who don't approve of strip clubs. So I know that I can't talk to them. I go upstairs expecting to masturbate to this memory of this beautiful, sexy woman, but I fail to do so because I find that I just want to interview her instead. I want to talk to her. I want to find out how she's come to the place where she is. What would it be like for me to be there, 40 years old, 20 years older than I am at the time, thinking about dancing for measly tips in a room full of people, even if there are other women who can share my experience of being sexually objectified, but not my experience of being fetishized for my skin color. Like the customers who come into the coffee shop where I work who compare my skin to the caramel lattes that they're drinking. So at the end of it, I realize I've been asking the wrong questions. I didn't become a stripper. Yeah, spoiler. Didn't become a stripper, but I still am out in the world getting fetishized as a brown-skinned woman in Portland. And as far as finding my people, my second reason for being there that night, I realized that the dancer who talked to me was giving me an opportunity to connect and to find my people. And I realized that what I share more than whether I'm straight or whether I'm gay, or those were the choices I thought I had in front of me at the time, my common experience is with other people who are fetishized for the way that they look and their color of their skin. And if I think back to that time, I wish that I had tried harder to open myself to that opportunity that the dancer was giving me by reaching out to me. And what I do now, I feel like I've, in a way, become her, a strange way, a weird way, in that I also like to reach out to younger women, especially women of color, and help them feel like they have a place in the world as well. If I had a chance to go back to that day, I would have tried harder, and I would have thanked that dancer for talking to me. So if she's out there somewhere still, I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you.